Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to another edition of eHeroes. Today's eHero is Elena Rahrig, and she's a serial entrepreneur, serial author, and an entrepreneur, and she helps people transform their mindset to be better at building their empire. So, welcome, Elena, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
Before we started the podcast, we were talking about authorship, and we were comparing our books, which was kind of funny because we've both been on the same track of writing books, but that's that I think that's great because it helps a book, whether you're an author of one book or 100 books, it helps you increase that authority that you have in your marketplace. So, I really encourage any of the listeners out there, whether you go through me, Elena, or anybody else, make sure you get a book in your name. Write your story down.
Amen. Amen. That's what, taking that a step further, I see so many entrepreneurs who want to be authors because they want to be an authority. Mm-hmm. However, there's so many of them that won't invest in a publisher, in an editor, in a graphic design artist to make the cover perfect. And so their book ends up having that opposite effect for them. Yeah. Because, I've ordered books like that because it's a client or a friend of a client or somebody says, you got to get this book, and I get it. And I'm like, they invested nothing in this book, which has the opposite effect on me, because if they're not going to invest in that book, they're not going to truly invest in me as their client.
Yeah, or they invested way too much in the book, and it made them out to be bigger or better than who they really are. And I've seen that effect. People read the book and they're like, this isn't him. Somebody else wrote this. What this? It doesn't speak his language. It doesn't have his personality. That book needs to be all about you. It needs to have your personality. If you have a special saying or favorite verb that you like to use, that needs to be in the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about building empires, because, I've been watching some of your videos, and that seems to be the hot button. Entrepreneurs want to build these awesome empires. They want to be like Trump. Well, good luck with that. But I do think that you can get to a level where you're comfortable with your empire, that you can walk away and let your employees handle everything, not necessarily, making billions of dollars.
Absolutely. That's when I talk about empires, a lot of times people are like, what do you mean by empire compared to just a business? And really the term, I'm sure you've heard it. We've all heard it. A solopreneur. Have you heard this, Rob?
Yes.
Solopreneur. Mm-hmm. That is the opposite of an empire, because when you think of an empire, it takes a team to raise an empire. And I love talking to you before we started recording the podcast. You were talking about your whole team you have in place who helps you get everything done. And so you're obviously not this solopreneur or somebody going at it alone. And so I cringe when I hear someone label themselves that, because they're always going to be that small business. They're going to be somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck. And an empire doesn't live paycheck to paycheck. An empire is not always trading time for dollars. I know we all have these aspects of business where we are trading time for dollars. When I edit a book, that's trading time for dollars. But you have to be able to find that residual income within your business. And there has to be, we talk about multiple streams of income. Same thing. There's publishing books, there's building websites, there's different tasks that we can do, different services, different products we can offer to bring that money in. So the residual income needs to be part of that. Okay, where's money coming into this business? What are all the different avenues? And residual income is a must when you're talking about your empire, or you're always trading time for dollars, which means unless you're really good at saving, you're never going to retire.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, we talk about money. We talk about as a solopreneur, you forget about all the things that you really need to bill about, or invoice out. So as a solopreneur, you might forget about, okay, well, I need this, and this, and you submit an invoice, and you think, wow, or a quote, and you think, wow, I'm going to get this job, and you might get this, $3,000 job, but it's not enough. It's not enough for you to hire somebody to help you. It's not enough to, increase your marketing. So then you start hiring people and you're like, realize, wow, I could have been charging a lot more money, or I need to be charging a lot more money. And that was one of the things I think when I started bringing in team members was that, wow, okay, I have to bill for their time too. I have to, bill for their computer, their this, their that. And instead of a $3,000 quote, maybe it's a $10,000 quote. But I have to account for everything now, which I didn't have to when I was a solopreneur. But I realize now also that I wasn't billing for things that, like my retirement, my 401k, I was just living paycheck to paycheck. And these solopreneurs are not thinking bigger. They're not thinking about how can I, if something happens to me right now, do I have enough money in the bank to pay my bills for the next 3-4 months?
Absolutely. And that's the same thing going into residual income. When I take a vacation, I'm still getting a notification several times a day saying you received a payment, you received a payment, and I can still enjoy my vacation. I don't have to go do any work for that. It's creating something like a program or an academy where people are buying it. I mean, I get people who go to my website and pay $4.95 for one of my academies, and I'm on vacation, I received $4.95, and they're logging into the membership portal, watching videos I created 2 years ago, downloading the PDFs I created 2 years ago. But I'm selling that every day or every week, every month, So that's where that residual income is awesome, but also residual income where they do pay that monthly membership. So every month, just to be able to purchase some of that stuff or to get to that, they're paying $35 a month. So that seems very low, but when you have thousands of people, say you have 1,000 people paying $35,000 a month, now that's really happy money, right? When you're on vacation. So when you go out to eat and you bought your dinner, but the money's replaced assume, because you're getting notifications that you received money. So I love the residual income. It's a big thing that we teach people how to structure their, restructure their company. So it does have that. And I did want to talk a minute too about multiple streams of income, because that is a very hot topic, always has been in my world. I know it's new to some people, but I think there's a misunderstanding about multiple streams of income with a lot of entrepreneurs. So I see entrepreneurs who they're like, well, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a coach on personal development. I do paint people's nails, like they do all these and none of it makes sense. Yeah. None of it goes together. So when I think of multiple streams of income, it's saying, okay, it's one company. It all serves the same end result. So we're building empires. But to help you build your empire, you need a website. So we have people who build the website. That's an income for the company. You also want to have a book. So we have a publishing portion of the company. That's another stream of income. So if no one wants a website built this month, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I don't have a client. It's I have publishing companies or publishing clients pouring in, and having that to where it all makes sense for your business, because otherwise you look scatterbrained. And I find that the trust level, people trusting you, really goes down, because it's like, if you couldn't make real estate work, how are you going to make this work? Right. It has to make sense. I see people jump in network marketing companies, and I have nothing against network marketing companies. I come from a family who did very well in them back in the day, and I see both sides to the spectrum on it. They're great and they can be not so great. I've seen it all. But I see people who they'll get a network marketing company and stick with it for a year or two, and they didn't make it work, so they jump into a different network marketing company. And it's like, well, you couldn't make the first one work. How are you going to make this one work? And they could just keep jumping around. So it's a matter of sticking with one topic, that you can have multiple streams of income within that one topic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see a lot of realtors doing that too. They'll jump from one company to the next because one, they're not making money at the first one, so they'll jump to the second one. Well, it has nothing to do with the company that you're in. It has to do with the marketing that you're putting out there, because people have no idea what you're doing. Same with trying to build your empire. And, one of the books that I actually wrote a couple years ago was called No Experience Necessary. And it was all for the boomers, Gen Xers, and over 50 entrepreneur. And it was teaching them how to promote your legacy, what you want to be known for on social media. And people don't get that. Your empire is like your legacy. It's something that you're building outside of yourself so that it'll continue to go on, without you. Not necessarily that you're dead, but that you're on vacation, or you got sick, or you can't work, but if people don't know what you're all about, if people don't know what that legacy is that you're trying to promote, there's no reason why for them to hire you, to trust you, to help you, make that business go any further.
Amen. Amen. A lot of my clients, they have nicknamed me Surrey, because at any time they'll send me a message and be like, hey, how do I do this? Or do you know anything about this? And I just type them back their answer. Or if it's a longer answer, I'll record them a video and shoot them over the video. It's why I have over 700 videos on YouTube, because I'm constantly just answering things. And so they're like, you're like Surrey. We send you a message and it's like, we have an answer. And that's my legacy. That's what I want to be known for, is my wisdom. And, for a long portion of my life, everyone just thought I was a pretty face. And it's like, no, I don't care. Like, I am the last person to do hair and makeup. I was actually just talking to somebody about that right before I hopped on with you. I'm like, no, I still box dye my hair. I don't care.
I was doing my hair before the podcasting.
But I'm like, I'm not going to go spend $100 and sit at a salon for 4 hours for color. I don't care. What I care about is my wisdom and my voice, and teaching people how to do things in business and how to have financial freedom. And it's my mind. My mind is my most valuable possession. And it's another reason why I protect my environment so much. And I don't let just anybody be my friend, or just talk to anybody, or waste my time, or I call it arguing with fools, or engaging with fools. It's because my mind is too precious to let anything in there that doesn't need to be. And so that's my legacy, is just sharing wisdom. And that's whether it's personal development or business. It's sharing my mind.
Yeah. And, and I think that's a perfect example of building empires is you have to protect, the things that are valuable to you. That wisdom, if you're just offering that to everybody out there, you're going to be so scatterbrained, because now you're helping everybody. This is a lot of times, when I first started out, I was helping anybody that breathed, and that was okay. It got me started, but after a while I was like, they don't have any money. Now I'm operating a charity service and I can't pay my bills. And so I have to focus on helping a certain niche of people that I know will value my time as much as I do. And, that's just one way to protect, not only your assets, your wisdom, the stuff that you're putting out there, and help people.
I love that you brought that up, because there is a very large portion of entrepreneurs who honestly cannot afford some of the services that they need.
Right.
And I remember, like I said, I was in network marketing for a long time, and I was making thousands a week at network marketing. And I remember I got hired to speak in Atlanta, Georgia at a big convention. And I was not speaking that day. I was there. I was one of the leaders and one of the top earners. And the motivational speaker for that day had flight issues and wasn't going to show up last minute. So the owner of the company said, Elena, because I usually, when I spoke, I was selling the business and teaching the business model. So he said, can you do motivational speaking? And I was like, heck yes, I can. I grew up on that stuff. That's all my parents ever had me watch and read and all that. So I was really excited. I said, just give me 15 minutes. And I had a little bev napkin and I wrote some things down that I knew I want to talk about. And I went up there and I loved it. And from that day on, I had a decision to make. Am I going to continue network marketing and teaching business model of this product and building somebody else's empire, or should I build my own? So I walked away from network marketing. And when you stop doing a network marketing business, all the 86 people that I enrolled who were making me money by referring more people, they follow the leader. So when I started to quit, they started to quit. And it did not take but a year for everything to dwindle down financially. But I was prepared for that. I knew it was going to happen. So when I started my own empire, like, okay, if I was able to do it for that company, I can do it for myself. And that was my mindset. I didn't have endless funds anymore. And I ended up popping out 4 children. So yes. So I didn't have these endless funds, and every person I hired, it was like $5,000, $10,000. And it was constant. I spent over 50 grand hiring coaches and different things for people to do. And eventually I was like, okay, I learned a lot. I fired a lot of people. And that's why I learned so much. I fired the website guy and said, I'll just figure it out on my own, and I became an expert in websites. But what I realized, and remembering where I was going, if I have to pay one more person another 5 grand, it gets exhausting. And so it's one reason when I looked at my company, and yes, we sell things for 5 grand, we sell things for 20 grand, we have those high things, but we didn't forget about those people who can't afford that. And so that's where the membership side comes in. It's where I found my residual income. And that's the thing, you can find it. So for $35 a month, every entrepreneur can afford that. If you can afford pizza and a case of pop on a Friday night, you can afford to invest in your business for $35 a month. Now, you can't hire somebody $5,000-$10,000 to build a website, but guess what? Inside the membership portal, we can teach you how to build your own website. We can teach you how to do things on your own. And so that's one of the things that we help anybody and everybody, whatever level you are at, going, you know what, the $35 a month are for those entrepreneurs who cannot drop 5 grand. And they have to learn to do things on their own because they can't hire it done.
Right.
So you're going to move slower. It's going to be more frustrating, but if you don't have the money, it's what you're going to have to do. And I mean, people love it though. And they realize like some of it, they're like, oh, I don't even want to learn that. They think that, well, I can't afford somebody to build a website for me, so I'll take your academy. I'll learn to do it myself. They get a few videos in and they're like, I will find the money and I'll pay you. And that's what they end up doing, but it's giving them that option. Okay, if you can't afford for me to do it, you can pay to learn to do it yourself.
And that $35 a month, it doesn't seem like a small thing. Or it may seem like a small thing, but over a course of a year, it's over $400 that you're getting from these people, where you've already created the product, and now you're basically just resharing it. And so it's anybody that's listening should create some type of membership for their clients that maybe you're in that stage where you only want to accept $4,000 or $5,000 jobs or 10,000 jobs or anything above that. But you're missing a whole portion of society that maybe can't afford that, but you can open them up a little bit. And if you can get $400 a year from them, great, do it.
And I have several clients in my membership who they get clients who pay them $4,000 to $10,000 for one client. But I've had those heart-to-hearts with them where they come to me and because they are my clients and they hire me to update their website all the time or do things like that for them or publish their books. And they say, well, I want to do another book, but I have to get another client. So that is their life. Like, yay, let's celebrate. I got a $5,000 client. Well, I don't know about you, Rob, but I can spend $5,000 in a day, right? Yeah. I can go buy the app I want for my website. I can buy all sorts of stuff for my business and plus go out and have a good time in life. So $5,000 is not a lot of money. It really is not. And it's gone so fast. And so that's where I see those entrepreneurs who are like, yeah, I got this $5,000 client. Well, by next week it's gone and you need a service done. So you have to go get another client. Like I said, you're stuck, you're trapped. You always have to go get that client. To where if you're patient and you still do those high paying clients, but then you say, okay, I'm going to have all the people who you have a consultation with who can't afford you, you have something to offer them. The relationship is not dead. Okay, I know you can't afford the $5,000. So we have this that might be more in your budget and it's still going to be very helpful for you. And they're like, wow, $35 a month. So now everybody's buying. Nobody's walking away and realistically, if they can't afford $35 a month, you probably don't want to work with them at all anyways, So not because they're broke, because their mindset's not right. Yeah. Because they think 35 is too much. The mindset is like way off course. So So you're capturing everyone. And if you're patient on that $35 a month level, think about it. What if it took 10 years to get to 1,000 people paying you that?
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing my math right? That's $35,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it took 10 years, now if you do what you're doing and you're selling $5,000, $10,000 packages and you're doing that for 10 years and you never did the $35 a month, 10 years from now, you're still having to get another client.
Mm-hmm.
Or 10 years from now, you can go, you know what? I'm bored. I don't want to do websites anymore. I don't want to publish books anymore because you know what? I'm doing $35,000 a year off a membership site because I was patient. And it's just a little side thing. Yeah. That's why the residual income is so extremely important.
And I also, one of the things that you kind of touched on, and this goes back to money, is that if they don't have enough money to buy your service, they need to up their prices. I've seen so many service type companies so afraid to raise their prices because they think that they're going to lose business. But in reality, their prices are probably too low to begin with. And if they just raise their price 10%, they're going to be making a lot more money. But a lot of them have that fear. Well, my competitor is this price and I need to stay where my competitor is. Well, your competitor is probably not making enough money either.
Well, and it's about being able to look at your competitor and say, why are you better?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, a lot of people build websites and they just pop them up and it's not strategic. Mm-mm. So that's a big thing we have going. We map out the entire website on paper strategically, and we go over it with the client going, here is why this is going here. And it's very strategic. And most people are like, okay, you want a website? And they just pop it up and they don't really care. They don't care if it's strategically put together. If the marketing behind it's smart, they don't care about that. And so that's why we charge more. Or we write your copy for you. Mm-hmm. We don't expect you to write it and we copy and paste it in there and your grammar is terrible and your marketing is terrible. We strategically rewrite that for you. Yeah. So you get what you pay for. But I understand the mentality of being scared to up the cost or the investment of your service. So for those of you listening who you're like, I know, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just not going to listen to you because the fear is too big. And trust me, we've all been there, Rob. We can admit we've been there. We have heard some really great counsel and said, it's great counsel, but I'm not going to do it, even though we know we should. So there are people listening who are like that going, I know I should up my prices, but I'm not going to. Start here. I think it's a great place to start. When most entrepreneurs use PayPal, right? To send invoices, collect money, or a service like PayPal.
I do. I use PayPal.
Yeah. So they charge you, I think it's a 3% fee. Mm-hmm. So one of the moves I made is going, you know what? If you are going to pay me through PayPal, because there's also Venmo, where Venmo, they don't charge any fees and you can send money through that way. Now you do have to do more of a paper invoice. You have to create that, but you're saving 3%. And if you have a $5,000 client, that 3% is a nice chunk of change that I don't want to give to PayPal. Mm-hmm. So what I started doing with clients is saying, you can pay me through Venmo, or if you go, and some are like, well, I don't have Venmo and I don't need another platform to set up. I'm like, that's fine. We can use PayPal, but you have to pay that 3%. Mm-hmm. So at least, you're not ready to up your prices, but at least save the money where you can and get comfortable with that. And as you get comfortable, saying, hey, these are the new rules. This is the way it's going to be. And you go, that wasn't so bad. And that was a really easy move to make. Okay, now I feel more comfortable upping it $500 or $1,000, right? So start small.
There you go, everybody. This is why Elena is a neat hero. So how do people get a hold of you? I mean, where do they go? Do they go to a website, to Facebook, YouTube?
You know what? At this point in time on August 9th, 2019 at 11:56 a.m. at this exact time, we have been working for the last 6 months reforming our websites and updating them, and we split them apart. So eTransformInternational.com is going to be the information website to where you get free content, you get to learn about the company, learn about the services and the products, and once you become a member, then you go to transformmastermind.com. Now, anybody can go to either site. etransforminternational.com on this date at this time is a little bit embarrassing for us because we are website builders and the thing is a hot mess. I'm not even, I guarantee you there are links that are not working right now. So, but they can go there, and if they're patient, they can weed through and they can get what they can get on there. Transformmastermind.com is the membership portal. You can snoop around on some of it. There's very few pages that are to the public, but there's enough public pages where you can see what it's about. And you can make a decision if you want to risk $35 to join the group and see what that's all about. You're going to get in the membership portal. There's a forum in there where you can ask questions on anything. So, hey, how do I start a YouTube channel? Well, I'm going to respond and give you the instructions on how to do that, or another member will. So there's that, and you'll also be put into the Facebook group. The Facebook group we did recently open to the public. Now it's a closed group, so I don't know if they'll find it or not. I forget how exactly. Closed group, they can find it. Secret group, they cannot find it. So they can find it. It's a Transform Mastermind private group is what that's called on Facebook. Anybody can get in there. You can't join all of our classes and all the things we do live every week with each other on Zoom. You can't get in the membership portal, but you can get in the group, and you do get some free things in there. So that's great. You can check out both the websites. Again, that's etransforminternational.com or transformmastermind.com. And you can email me at info@etransforminternational.com or call the office at 567-259-6454.
There you go. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and I will catch you guys on the next eHeroes podcast. Adios.